What if you were lost at sea, alone, with nothing but the vast ocean around you? This isn't just a scenario. For Salvador Alvarenga, it was a terrifying reality. Let's dive into his incredible story of survival against all odds. Meet Salvador Alvarenga, fisherman against the storm. Salvador Alvarenga, a 37-year-old Salvadoran fisherman, ventured into the Pacific with his young crewmate, eager to conquer the ocean's bounty. From the coastal town of Chocohuital, Mexico, he set out in a modest 25-foot fiberglass boat, designed for speed and agility. Known among his peers for his resilience and jovial spirit, Alvarenga was prepared for a routine fishing expedition, planning to haul in tuna, shark, and mahi-mahi. The boat was heavily loaded, carrying over 1,000 pounds of gear, including an enormous icebox destined to be filled with the day's catch. Despite warnings of an approaching storm, Alvarenga's determination saw him heading out to sea, driven by the promise of a lucrative day. Little did he know, he was sailing straight into a tempest that would turn his routine trip into a dire fight for survival against the unforgiving sea. The storm hits, a fight for survival begins. As Salvador Alvarenga and his crewmate Ezequiel Cordoba pushed 75 miles offshore, the ominous warnings of an impending storm materialized into a violent tempest. The sky darkened abruptly, and massive waves began assaulting their small, open boat. Around 1 a.m., the sea transformed into a chaotic expanse, with waves pitching the boat like a toy. Panic set in as Cordoba screamed over the roar of the wind, urging Alvarenga to retreat to safety. The boat, already struggling against the rising swells, started to take on water at an alarming rate. Desperate, Alvarenga manned the fishing line, while Cordoba frantically bailed water. The situation escalated quickly. Each wave dumped more water than they could clear, threatening to sink them. In a critical decision, Alvarenga slashed the fishing line, sacrificing thousands of dollars worth of gear and potential catch to lighten the load and maneuver the boat toward a hopeful, distant safety. This marked the beginning of their harrowing ordeal, far from the shore and any immediate help. Isolation at sea, no land in sight. Stranded far from civilization, Salvador Alvarenga and Ezequiel Cordoba found themselves adrift in the vast Pacific Ocean, approximately 280 miles from the nearest land. Their situation grew increasingly perilous as they realized just how isolated they were. The small craft sat dangerously low in the water, making them nearly invisible to potential rescuers. Days turned into nights with no sight of land or other vessels, intensifying their sense of abandonment. The limited supplies on board quickly dwindled, leaving them with only the relentless sea and sky as constant companions. A bond forged in isolation. Amid the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, Salvador Alvarenga and Ezequiel Cordoba, initially mere acquaintances, found themselves depending on each other for survival and sanity. Isolated from the rest of the world, their relationship deepened, transforming into a profound bond shaped by their shared ordeal. As they faced the daily trials of survival, their interactions evolved from simple companionship to an essential emotional support system. They shared stories from their lives, hopes for the future, and even delusional visions, anything to distract from their dire situation. The agony of solitude, losing a friend. The journey took a darker turn when Ezequiel Cordoba, weakened by the harsh conditions and psychological strain, began to succumb to despair. Despite Salvador Alvarenga's efforts to maintain both their spirits, Cordoba's health deteriorated rapidly, marking the beginning of a painful and solitary phase of the ordeal for Alvarenga. Witnessing his friend's descent into hopelessness was tormenting. Cordoba eventually expressed a desire to end his suffering by attempting to throw himself into the shark-infested waters. Alvarenga, driven by a mix of desperation and determination, physically restrained him, wrestling him back into the boat and locking him inside the icebox to prevent his suicide. The psychological battle. As the days turned into months, the mental strain of solitude and survival weighed heavily on Salvador Alvarenga. He endured not only the physical challenges of isolation, but also battled intense psychological storms. Alvarenga's mind often teetered on the edge of despair, haunted by hallucinations and the overwhelming silence of the ocean. To combat loneliness and maintain sanity, he drew strength from memories of his loved ones, especially his daughter, Fatima. These thoughts became his refuge, filling his mind with scenes of past happiness and hopes of reunion. He imagined conversations with his daughter, replaying her voice calling him Papi, which brought him comfort and motivation to keep fighting. His mental resilience was further tested as he faced the stark reality of his situation, adrift in an immense ocean with no immediate hope of rescue. Alvarenga's struggle highlights the crucial role of psychological endurance in survival scenarios, demonstrating how memories and emotional connections can become lifelines in the darkest of times. A glimmer of hope, rescue on the horizon. After enduring 438 days of solitude and survival, a glimmer of hope finally emerged for Salvador Alvarenga. Spotting a container vessel on the horizon sparked a rush of adrenaline and a desperate cry for help. Alvarenga, using all his remaining strength, screamed and waved, trying to capture the attention of the crew members he could faintly see standing near the stern. His heart raced as the ship seemed to approach, only to be crushed by despair when it became clear that the vessel wouldn't stop. The crew continued their casual gestures, unaware of the gravity of his situation. This moment was bittersweet, so close to rescue, yet still so far, left alone with the vast ocean. However, Alvarenga's resolve did not waver. He refused to let this setback defeat him, drawing on deep reserves of hope and determination. This encounter, while heartbreaking, renewed his resolve to survive, proving that even in moments of deep despair, the human spirit's capacity for hope can reignite the will to live. The emotional homecoming. Salvador Alvarenga's return to civilization was an emotional crescendo to his harrowing odyssey. When he finally set foot on solid ground, it wasn't just a physical relief, but a profound emotional release. The sight of the familiar, yet almost forgotten faces of his family overwhelmed him. The most touching moment came when he reunited with his daughter, Fatima. Despite the years lost and the hardships endured, the bond between father and daughter remained unbroken. Alvarenga held Fatima tightly, tears streaming down his face, as he whispered apologies and promises. His journey of survival was not just a physical trial, but had also been a long voyage back to his loved ones. This reunion highlighted the enduring strength of familial love and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Alvarenga's story, culminating in this poignant homecoming, serves as a powerful testament to the indomitable will to survive and the profound impact of human connection in the face of unimaginable adversity. Salvador Alvarenga's story is a testament to human resilience and the will to survive. What lessons can we take from his harrowing journey? Remember, when faced with the unimaginable, the human spirit can be incredibly powerful. Thanks for watching. If you were inspired by this story of survival, like, share, and subscribe for more incredible tales. Until next time, keep exploring and pushing the limits of what you think is possible.